Obviously not a very popular time, lunchtime, everyone still needs their break. So thank you very much for joining us in this afternoon session on developing large-scale solar plants in West Africa. Well, obviously we're all here because we acknowledge climate change is real. And I think most of us could agree that the impact on least developed member countries is the most severe. We all saw the presentation in the morning by the IDB president, and we saw how, unfortunately, our less developed member countries, our less developed countries, are in a worse place to deal with the impacts of climate change. Now, IDB has been a very active member in renewable energy in the sector. It has been contributing to the entire value chain. And one of the most significant impacts or the contributions to climate change mitigation for the Islamic Development Bank has been actually in the renewable energy sector. So without further ado, I'll pass on to my colleague, our lead energy specialist in the energy division in the infrastructure department, Brother Nuruddin Mabrouk, to introduce our esteemed speakers and to talk to us a bit about the topic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, dear guests, thank valuable guests to be here today. We're happy to welcome you to our workshop. We call it Developing a Large Scale of Solar System in West Africa. You know, in Africa, and mainly in West Africa, despite the existence of several sources of energy, like hydro or even solar is very abundant, the electrification rate is still very low compared to the other international country. So having that, and IDB has also, as Brother Dr. Ahmed said, rich experience in developing solar system, but we were developing, let's say, small size of microsystem of solar for electrification, for rural electrification, and also the other MDBs were doing so. And we saw the last year that this model has some limitation. So we don't see really economic impact on the population because the people need more energy, they need more access to electricity. With affordable electricity, we need to drop down the price of the kilowatt hour, so to allow the population to generate some income and to develop some economic activities. You know, today the cost of large scale of solar system is really coming down. We saw last few months back in UAE, particularly the kilowatt hour was proposed for less than $3 per kilowatt hour. However, in Africa, we are still talking about between $20 and $30 per kilowatt hour. This is really a big difference, and we want to take the advantage of the technology now available for this large scale of solar system and to put it in place or to develop it in West Africa. Also, one of the things that encourage this kind of project is the development of, let's say, interconnected network between all the West African countries. We can highlight here the OMVA system, which is implemented a few years back and is running, and a successful story for that. Now, IDB, amongst other developers, we are building the OMVG interconnected network with the interconnecting most of the West African country. Also, we know that there is a CLSG project interconnecting Cote d'Ivoire, Sierra Leone, and Liberia. There are planned projects for 330 kilovolt interconnection for Nigeria up to Burkina Faso. So all these things, all this interconnected network, there will be the infrastructure within a maximum 10 years that can allow integration of really large scale. We are talking about between 100 and 200 megawatt of solar system, and we believe that by a few years the West African country can easily integrate such system. And of course, this kind of development can help preserving the existing hydropower system, that we can manage to have a kind of mix of energy where the synergy between hydro and solar can work efficiently. I would like to welcome today our valuable speakers, Mr. Mahama Kapia from ICRI, Director General of ICRI, He will talk today about the solar corridor project where they're going to develop in West Africa. For sure we'll learn from him about the availability or the affordability for developing such project. We have also among us Mr. Muhammad El Arnabi from ONI. We'll get the chance to learn from him the challenges or difficulties for operating large scale of solar system on the matter of at the level of dispatching center. So we are sure that there are some difficulties, but also there are some solutions. We have to learn about it. Of course, today we invited also a developer, which is Mr. Muhammad Saad Al-Amrani from Mitsui. He will talk about the opportunity to go to West Africa and to develop this kind of project, and also their interest and their solution to come with maybe financing or to come with a complete solution for developing such project. Dr. Ahmed Badr from RICRI, he joined us today also. Welcome, Dr. Ahmed, and we expect to learn from him about some similar experience, not in West Africa, of course, because RICRI is the regional for other Arab country, maybe. It's similar to ICRI, but for Arab country. So he will tell us about similar experience in the other country. So we'll learn from him some good lessons, inshallah. So welcome again, and we expect to have a rich discussion by the end of the presentation. We'll let them present their product, and then we'll see later. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Mabruk. It's a pleasure being here with the Islamic Development Bank, ECRI, and for that matter, the West Africa region and the Islamic Development Bank has come really a very long way. Our focus here will be on the energy side, and particularly renewable energy, what we've been doing with the Islamic Development Bank for the past few years. But for the benefit of our audience, I think, let me first, good. Oh. Very good. Let me just make a brief introduction of the ECOWAS region. When we talk of ECOWAS, we're talking of 15 countries in West Africa, spreading all the way from Nigeria to Senegal and Cape Verde, with a land area of about 5 million square kilometers and a population of about almost 340 million people. So we're not a small area at all, and we've not a small population. We talk of Sub-Saharan Africa, we form almost half of the population of Sub-Saharan Africa, and that is a very big area. But one big constraint we have in our economic development is the lack of access to energy services, and that is really crippling almost every economy in the region. So, and you see on the cooking side, we have up to only 25% of the population using modern cooking fuels or technologies. The region for the past has relied mostly on fossil fuel for the power supply until in 2008, when the heads of states of ECOWAS took a decision to establish ECRI. That's the ECOWAS Center for Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency. This happened at a time that fossil fuel prices were really so high that most of our utilities could no longer even afford the fuel bill. We had generators which were simply not running because they could not afford the bill anymore. And this forced the heads of states to meet and say, no, let's put our focus on the renewables, alternative energies, and see if that can help to alleviate this situation. And that's actually how ECRI got created. And since we started, we have adopted two policies actually within our mandate. That's the ECOWAS regional policy for renewable energy and the ECOWAS regional policy for energy efficiency. These two policies, I can just say, I didn't put the results there, but what they say is that by 2020, the ECOWAS region, which has just about 15% renewables now, should get 35%. And by 2030, it should be 48% renewable penetration. And if you look at the system, and this is really not small, and in terms of energy efficiency by 2020, we should adopt measures to relieve up to 2,000 megawatt of power generation capacity. And that is also not a small margin. Following this, we went with the member states, as it was a regional policy. Member states had to adopt what we call national action plans for renewable energy and energy efficiency to respond to this collective regional policy. And all the 15 countries of ECOWAS carried out the exercise, and everybody came out with their national action plan and also set their national goals as to how much renewables they can accommodate. And like I said, they really met practically what we had put together as a region, and they really contributed. So with that system, you will see that between today and 2020, we'll have to put in place large power plants, renewable energy plants, mainly hydro and solar, to the tune of 7 gigawatts. That's 7,000 megawatt between now and 2020. That is not a small figure. So far, how have we been operating? Sure, as Mabruk mentioned, we're working with them in the development of, we're developing 100 mini-grids in Senegal, of which 40 has already taken off. The other 60 would follow soon. If you go around the member states, they started from PPAs, and now everybody wants to do auction. But going project by project base has been a very difficult challenge. It is really very labor intensive and not cost effective. So we said, why don't we take a different approach? You see them small projects all over the whole place, and you have to chase each project and negotiate each one, and it's just becoming a mess. So we said, why don't we take a more holistic approach? Let's go as a region. We have seen good examples in the United Arab Emirates, where now renewable energy tariffs is going down. The last auction, they got 2.4 cents per kilowatt hour. That is far below any fossil fuel plant you ever think of. And so far, our region, I can say the lowest we got is the recent one in Ghana, which was 8 cents per kilowatt hour. Still far away anyway. But we believe if we go together as a group and mobilize the projects together, we should be able to get a very good project. We could get solar to the tune of the 2 gigawatt that we want between now and 2020, and we sell this project as one project and as a region, and we could also come down closer to the tariffs that we see in other regions. We don't have to look far for good examples of solar PV projects. Morocco has shown it. We've seen it in the United Arab Emirates. We've seen it even in Zambia. They were able to get 5-6 cents per kilowatt hour because they moved for scale. And West Africa, we could go for bigger scale, and we could do a lot better. So this is an opportunity that we should not miss. So I don't even know where I should point to change the slide. Okay, very good. Wonderful. I should point to the... okay, wonderful. Thank you. So I have to point it over there, not here. So this is it. Then we came out with what called this concept of renewable energy or clean energy corridors. Actually, we drew lessons from what ARENA is doing in other regions of the world, coming out with clean energy corridors in the north and all the way to the south. And we say, why not? We also have enough potential to come up with clean energy corridors. So you can see that we have substantial solar in the Sahel area. We have substantial still hydro resources in the middle belt. And to the coastal areas, we have substantial wind speeds which can still be tapped. So we are not short of the resources, and most parts of the region has a very good vegetation. We can too rely on our bioenergy water resources and also develop this thing. So we've started working first with this clean energy, that's the clean solar corridor, which actually some work has started. We had some support from the EU, technical assistance facility who have already started work on it. And I can say this is just a big background information. I don't think we need to. The process we have gone through, we've discussed it at various fora, and our technical experts in the region have adapted it. And finally, we're going to the energy ministers meeting in December. That's on December 8th, who also adapted. It becomes a regional document, and it's something we're all ready to run with. And I will not talk much on this. I just cannot get. This is the process we've gone through, which I was talking about. And this is the implementation pillars. So what we're doing now is we're now identifying. First, we have a consultancy that's working on the solar corridor, looking at the whole zone where we have the highest solar irradiation, and how can we take advantage of this, and now identifying areas that cannot be used for certain restrictions on land use, and eliminating these areas, identify areas that are closer to transmission grids, and then putting them into the group. In the end, what we're going to have, whole huge areas that are very good and very compatible with solar development, be it solar PV and CSP. We also looked at CSP, and we have found some areas very good, sure, very far from population areas, but still very good. And we can also develop CSP, sure. Very soon, ONE will see us here coming to learn more on CSP, so that we can also develop our CSP. So the partnership in this, so you see what's happening. We have ECRE together with ERERA, that's the Regional Regulatory Agency, and the West African Power Pool. Yes, Mr. Mabruk just mentioned of some of the transmission lines being constructed in the region. That's the OMVG and the CLSG lines. And there's a whole connection of transmission lines from Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire into Burkina Faso and Mali. So transmission reinforcement really is going up very fast. And we have ARENA, we have the technical and financial partners. That's where the Islamic Development Bank comes in. We also have the regional part, the regional political partners, technical committees, the EU and other industry players, who all working together to make this, what I call it, clean energy corridor concept a reality. Now, you will see here, like, this is the exclusion zones when we did it for solar PV. I'm surprised. I think I might have missing one slide, but it's okay. So for solar PV, we had, oh, good. This is the slide I skipped. So for solar PV, we realized in the region that every part of the region is suitable for solar PV. And you see the transmission grid is everywhere, or there are planned transmission interconnections going somewhere under construction or being developed for the future. So practically, we will have our region very well connected, not as it is today. I believe by another 2 years' time, every country will be connected to the one single regional grid. In another 2 years' time, all the links will be reinforced to carry massive amounts of power. So this is actually the steps that we're taking. So we have to take advantage of this and not just build power plants at the coast. We can build at the north. We can build in any part of the place so far as there is grid connection, and then transport to the other parts where the power is most needed. So you see the exclusion zones marked for solar PV. Those white spots are areas for some restrictions on land use, cannot be used, but practically every other part is suitable, and you can identify land in most parts of the region to use for the solar PV production. And if you want to go to CSP, you see with very rare parts in Niger. Niger has a very good CSP regime, but they have a very good, large area that actually is not suitable for mining purposes and dangerous elements. But most of the land is still available, which you can tap in, and you can have a very good CSP development that could ship power even right back to Nigeria, to Burkina Faso, even to Ghana and the other countries south of it. So with this all happening, what we're doing is, once the project areas get defined and the project sizes get defined and pre-feasibility studies have been carried out, this is where we come with the Islamic Development Bank. In the end, we want to come up with the pipeline of projects that will constitute this 2 gigawatts. The pipeline of projects that will constitute this 2 gigawatts, and we believe that by the end of next year, at the next COP, that is the project that we should bring into COP. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kapia. I think the very detailed inputs or data from the region. We know very well the potential now of the West African region for producing, inshallah, energy. And of course, we'll discuss later, and we'll leave the floor to Al-Arnabi from ONI to present the experience of ONI. Thank you.
Merci beaucoup, c'est Nordine. Mon intervention sera sur une présentation du système électrique marocain ainsi que l'intégration de la centrale solaire Nord 1 au niveau du système électrique marocain. Je commence par un aperçu sur la puissance installée au niveau du système marocain. À fin septembre, on a une puissance installée de 8260 MW qui est allée comme suit. Le thermique concessionnel représente 35%, le thermique WINE représente 12% et le paquet renouvelable représente 34,5%. Et en dernier lieu, 17% pour le turbine à gaz pour faire face pour la technologie de pointe. La répartition de la satisfaction de l'énergie appelée à faire... je pense que le slide n'est pas clair. C'est un compte. Pour la répartition de l'énergie appelée à fin septembre, on est atteint à 27 000 gigawattheures. Le solaire a participé de 1,5%. L'éolienne a participé de 8,5% et l'hydraulique 5%. Pour en ce qui concerne les caractéristiques du système électrique marocain, pour la partie 400 000, on est à 3 000 km de lignes réalisées. La partie réseau de transport, côté 225 000, on est à 9 600 km de ligne. Pour le réseau 60 000, on est à 12 131 km de ligne. Bien évidemment, il y a tout un projet pour le développement du réseau de transport pour permettre l'évacuation de l'énergie produite au niveau des futures centrales, ainsi que le renforcement des interconnexions avec les pays voisins. La situation actuelle des énergies renouvelables au niveau du système marocain. Pour la partie éolienne, on est à presque 900 MW, répartis comme suit. Pour la partie, les parcs WINE, 200 MW au niveau de Sawera et Tanger. Les parcs développés dans le cadre des contrats PPA, on est à 350 MW. 50 MW au nord par le COD et 300 MW au niveau du sud, à Tarfaya. Et les parcs qui sont développés dans le cadre de la loi 1309, on est à 300 MW, 200 à Arfenir, 150 MW à Fumlouad et au nord 50 MW. Pour l'autoproduction, il y a deux producteurs, Lafarge et Simon Dimac, qui développent de parcs éoliens qui assure la satisfaction de sa demande en interne, puis le surplus il est injecté au niveau du réseau national. Pour le volet solaire, on a développé pas mal de sites. Il y a la composante solaire au niveau de la centrale CSP Ain Bni Mthar. C'est une centrale cycle combinée dont la puissance installée est de 450 MW avec une composante solaire de 20 MW. Il y a aussi des microcentrales telles que la microcentrale Tetmeli, Louarzazate et Assa d'une puissance respectivement de 46 watts et 120 et 800 watts au niveau d'Assa. Et il y a la centrale solaire Nord 1 qui a été mise en service en février 2016 de 160 MW. Quelques données au niveau des centrales solaires installées au niveau du système marocain. On trouve la composante solaire de centrale thermique CSP Ain Bni Mthar. La puissance installée de 452 MW. La composante solaire 20 MW. Le productible annuel pour la partie solaire il est de 40 GWh. Pour la centrale d'Essa ZAC, il est de 800 MW de puissance installée. Le productible annuel, il est de 1,46 GW. Il est raccordé au réseau moyenne tension. Et pour la centrale qui était nouvellement raccordée au niveau du système électrique en février 2016, c'est la centrale Nord 1 de Ouarzazate, dont la puissance installée il est de 160 MW avec un productible de 600 GWh. La superficie du champ solaire il est de 480 hectares avec une technologie thermosolaire CSP avec une capacité de stockage de 3 heures de stockage qui couvre juste la pointe du soir. En ce qui concerne l'historique de la production solaire au niveau de Ain Bni Mthar, depuis 2011, on a ajouté 12 gigawatts pour 2011 et pour 2016, le productible de l'année 2016 était de 33 gigawattheures. Pour Nord 1 qui a été mis en 2016, on a atteint le pic en mois de juin. Il a pu participer avec une énergie de 58 gigawattheures comme productible pendant le mois de juin. Au mois de juillet, 41 gigawattheures et le mois de 32 et le mois de septembre, on a aussi une nette baisse de 30 gigawattheures. Voilà, la courbe les déclarations journalières par rapport à la production réelle pour un jour ciel bleu. On constate que la production au niveau de la centrale CSP en Ouarzazate correspond parfaitement aux déclarations communiquées par la direction de l'entreprise chargée de l'exploitation de cette centrale. Pour un jour nuageux, on constate qu'il y a des écarts entre les déclarations journalières et la production réelle de cette centrale. Pour faire face à ces variations pendant les jours nuageux, l'ONE a conclu une prestation avec une entreprise chargée de la prévision des énergies renouvelables en se basant sur la prévision des modèles météorologiques combinée avec la production qui est réalisée. On est en liaison avec cette entreprise en temps réel. On communique le réalisé de l'ensemble des sites de production à base d'éoliennes et en fur et à mesure il actualise les prévisions de la production pour qu'on puisse arrondir la prévision par rapport à la réalisation. Bien évidemment, on dispose d'autres moyens plus flexibles pour faire face aux énergies intermittentes. tels que les steppes, les centrales hydrauliques à grands réservoirs pour essayer de combler les écarts enregistrés au cours de la journée. C'est l'impact de cette centrale au niveau de son raccordement au niveau de la région de Ouarzazate. Avec la mise en service de la centrale CSP Nord 1, on constate que le plan de tension au niveau de la région s'est amélioré, ce qui nous a permis d'optimiser les pertes de transport au niveau pendant les heures pointes. On a pu optimiser 5 MW et au niveau des heures pleines, aux environs de 2 MW, soit en total en termes d'énergie de 11 GWh annuels comme optimisation au niveau des pertes au niveau des réseaux de transport. Voilà, le potentiel en termes d'éoliennes et solaires au niveau du territoire marocain. Pour le potentiel éolien, on est à 25 000 MW comme potentiel éolien. Et pour le solaire, on est à 20 000 MW. Pour accompagner l'intégration massive des énergies à base de renouvelables telles que l'éolien au solaire, l'ONU a mis en développant plusieurs parcs de production flexibles pour faire face aux intermittences et pour assurer en temps réel l'équilibre offre-demande, tel qu'on prévoit de développer 4 steppes d'une puissance totale de 1400 MW avec des centrales hydrauliques classiques avec une capacité, avec des réservoirs importants pour faire face à ces variations, ainsi que des centrales thermiques avec une grande flexibilité de l'ordre de 3200 MW. Au niveau réseau de transport, on prévoit l'extension du réseau de transport pour permettre l'évacuation de la production prévue au niveau de ces centrales, ainsi que le développement des interconnexions avec les pays voisins pour saisir les opportunités entre les pays, telles que la troisième interconnexion avec l'Espagne et la future interconnexion en phase d'étude encore en continu avec les Portugais. Bien évidemment, on vient de lancer un cahier de charge pour la mise en place d'un dispatching renouvelable pour bien maîtriser la production à base du renouvelable. Cette application prévoit la mise en place des applications de dernière génération en termes de prévision de renouvelable pour qu'on puisse adapter la production à la consommation. Et merci.
Merci beaucoup pour cette présentation très détaillée. En fait, il y a beaucoup de données concernant le réseau marocain et les centrales renouvelables. J'espère qu'on pourra discuter ça après l'autre présentation. J'invite M. Mohamed Saad pour le Mitsui pour la prochaine présentation. Merci.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Ladies and gentlemen, first of all, I would like to extend my warmest thanks to IDB for inviting me to this workshop. I'm really delighted to be here today because I'm one of the biggest supporters of renewable energy and also one of the biggest supporters of Islamic finance. So that's anyway. Well, first of all, please allow me to start with a brief presentation of my company, which is Mitsui & Co. Then I will talk more specifically about infrastructure projects business unit that includes power generation. And then I will talk about our power generation and the renewable energy projects. I will then make a focus on Africa and the projects we are developing in Africa. Well, then I will go into the subject and talk about solar in West Africa, why solar in West Africa, and talk about some challenges we can face in this region. Finally, I will close with some recommendations. First of all, Mitsui is one of the biggest Japanese trading and investment houses. It has more than 1 century of history. This slide actually shows the size of the company. You can see that it has around $100 billion assets. And it has a total equity of $30 billion. Basically, Mitsui is present in all around the world. It's present in 65 countries. It has more than 40,000 employees. And it's a kind of conglomerate, so it has more than 400 subsidiaries and affiliated companies. Mitsui's activity is divided in 6 main business areas, which are metals, machinery and infrastructure, that includes power generation, renewable energy, chemicals, energy, which is mainly oil and gas, lifestyle, which includes many activities. Actually, it goes from agribusiness to healthcare to fashion, and finally innovation and corporate development, which is mainly IT and other high-tech activities. Here in this slide, we can see all the business units of Mitsui. I think that every time it changes, but I think now it's 14 or 15 business units in total, plus 3 regional business units, which are Asia Pacific, Americas, and EMEA. Morocco and West Africa, of course, are part of EMEA region, which is Europe, Middle East, and Africa. Our interest today is about infrastructure projects business unit. That we'll have some focus on it now. Sorry. No. So here it is. So mainly infrastructure projects activity in Mitsui company is about power generation. We do IPPs. We also do some O&M and EPC activity. We have many IPPs. You can see the list on the sorry. But anyway, and then you have the energy, which is okay. No. Pointer. Anyway, and and we have some gas downstream activity like gas distribution and LNG receiving terminals. We have also some offshore oil and gas. It's FSRU, chartering, FPSO, drill ships. We have also water activity, mainly seawater desalination and water supply and water treatment. And last but not least, we have logistic infrastructure like ports management and also some other activity like we have, for example, a very interesting project in Malaysia of a smart city named Medini Iskandar. Talking about power generation and renewable energy, our strategy is to develop a portfolio through project development, M&A, and asset recycling in order to have a comprehensive and well-balanced portfolio in terms of regional-wise and also by energy source and also by contract type. This is the whole IPP portfolio we have as of today, or more precisely as of March 2016. we can see that we are present. We have power plants by almost all sources of energy. The share of renewables are, including hydro, are something like 20%. And then we have a large portion of gas, almost 50%, and also some coal. And most of our projects are PPA based, almost 80%. Then we have a small portion, 20% of merchant. These are some examples of big projects we have in power generation field. Python Indonesia was the first IPP in which Mitsui participated. It was back in 1999. And from then, we developed, as of today, something like more than 40 gigawatts. And with the Mitsui share is around 11 gigawatts, as you could see in this slide. The gross capacity is 41 gigawatts, and net capacity, which is Mitsui share, actually is 11 gigawatts. So then we have some in UK we have many power generation activity. We have pumped storage, we have gas-fired, coal-fired, and oil-fired power plants. Now about renewable energy, we have a very big project ongoing now in Brazil. It's under construction. It's almost 4 gigawatts hydro. We are in partnership with ENGIE and other partners in this project. We have many solar parks actually in Japan, but this is one of the biggest. It's this Totori Yonaga Solar. Almost 43 megawatts, and Mitsui owns 50%. Then we have many renewable energy projects in Canada, solar, wind, and assets, with a total of 680 megawatts. And we have a CSP project in Spain, which was commissioned in 2012. And it has an installed capacity of 50 megawatts. This is a map of Africa showing all the recent infrastructure projects we have in the African region. I will not talk about Morocco now because we will make a focus on it afterwards, also on Ghana. But you can see that we have 7 offices in the African continent. We have an office in Casablanca, another one in Algeria, Cairo, Nairobi, Accra, Johannesburg, and in Maputo, Mozambique. We have. It's interesting in Mozambique because we have two integrated, very large projects. One of them is coal mining, and we are also developing a railway in order to be able to get into the coal onto a port for export. And we are also developing a coal-fired power plant. We also have a very large gas field under development with a total capacity of 12 million tons per annum. And if we see in the region, as I told you, we have many activities in Ghana. We have also activities in Côte d'Ivoire. Mainly it's FPSO leasing. We also have some activity in Equatorial Guinea. We have a LNG project. This slide shows the recent activity in Morocco. We were part of the consortium that made the construction of Jorf Lasfar units 5 and 6, 2 times 350 megawatts with our partner Daewoo ENC. It was commissioned into 2014. And we have some IPP projects. We have a coal-fired power plant in Safi. It's an ultra supercritical technology. I'm sorry to talk about coal in COP22, but we still need some base load. And in this project, actually, we have applied many technologies. We have ESP, we have FGD, and we have a very efficient boiler that allows us to have less emissions of CO2 and very, very little emissions of SOx and NOx. We are also developing a wind farm in Taza city, totaling 150 megawatts with our partner EDF EN. The project is still under development, and we hope to close to reach financial close in the beginning of next year. Well, in Ghana, as I told you previously, we have many projects, many ongoing projects. We have recently completed an EPC, the construction of. Actually, it's rehabilitation of a power plant. It was an open cycle OCG, open cycle, and we converted it to CCGT. In the site is Takoradi. We were with our partner KEPCO, ENC, a Korean company. And we have under implementation, we have an FPSO chartering project for 10 oil field. We have some other developments ongoing. Now let's talk a little bit about our interest in the solar in West Africa. First of all, we can ask ourselves why thinking about solar in West Africa. Well, I have tried to list some of the reasons. The first one is, as it was shown in ECRE presentation previously, we have a very good solar irradiation in this region, especially in the north of the region that exceeds to 2,000 kilowatt hour per square meter. We have in Africa generally, but also in West Africa, very big need of capacity building, which gives an opportunity for renewables to be developed. We have noticed recently in the last years that there has been a very big decrease in PV costs. And we have very big spaces that are available. We have today proven technologies, PV and CSPR today have shown that they can have a good output. And there is no big technology risk today on these technologies. On the other hand, there are some challenges in order to develop these projects in Africa, in West Africa. First of all, there is always the political stability, the security issues, unfortunately, in the region. Well, financing, sometimes it's difficult to find funds for these projects in this region. We have also the sovereign risk. We have some convertibility issues especially for the non-CFA countries. We need some guarantees, like for example, there are some instruments like MIGA, for example, that can cover these risks and can guarantee, but it's maybe not enough for all the projects. And there is also the regulation and the legal framework that is not always well adapted to IPPs or to private investments. There are also some technical risks, like mainly the grid availability and also the reliability. We don't want to go to a country to invest millions of dollars, and at the end we can't We can't sell our electricity because of grid issues. There is also an issue of backup and storage capacity. As you know, the intermittency of solar means that in order to have stability of the grid, you need to have some backup or some storage. And also one very important thing to attract foreign investors is to have a clear project pipeline that gives visibility to the investors. Some recommendations is for these countries is to try to develop first some base load and some backup capacity. And what I want to highlight here is that we have seen that solar can reach some costs of $3 per kilowatt hour. But if we add to this cost the backup or the base load needed to integrate it into the grid, this cost will be the total cost, the final cost will be higher. So this we should also take into consideration when thinking about solar projects. There is also one important point is about regional integration and interconnections that were developed by ECRE. And also by ONE, because we have interconnections in Morocco, which helps a lot in the grid stability. Another recommendation is grid strengthening, as I told before, and to make a good regulation and legal framework, and also to develop some guarantee instruments that will give comfort to the investors and the lenders, and also to make a good planning for these projects, and in order to prepare a comprehensive IPP project pipeline. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mohammed Saad. I think very detailed presentation with good background for the company. Hopefully you will get the chance to go to West Africa and do projects. I will give the floor maybe to Dr. Ahmed, if he can share some experience from the RCRE. Thank you very much.
Well, good morning, everybody. First of all, allow me to thank Dr. Noordine and Mabrouk and Dr. Kambani to allow me the chance to share some thoughts with you. Well, I very much enjoyed the presentation from ECRE, from ONA, and from Mitsoy. But actually, I was really thinking, how could I start my intervention? And it's exactly, this takes me back 8 years ago when we started the same idea of RCRE. It is always the case, how should we say, the two faces of the same coin. Governments thinking how can they improve and increase the access to energy, have the intention and the guts to do that in order to meet the expectation of their people, while at the same time they have key challenges, starting of which with the access to finance, the finance that could get them to cover all electricity or access to modern energy services. While in the meantime, they are looking for investors and foreign direct investments, looking how can I secure my investment. Let's put some kind of key elements, but before that, let me tell you how we looked at it at RCRE. Well, RCRE, when we started, actually, it was the time that there is the new wave of the COPs, starting in COP 17, 18, and the very famous debates in Johannesburg and Copenhagen that developed and developed countries wanted to have not more commitment on their side, while developed countries saying this is what happened because of the global warming, it's because of the more gas consumption and more gas compensation. Anyway, the idea at that time that when we started RICRI, we started to look at how can we make the countries aware of the need for renewable energy. While by the time between 2008 when we started RICRI, it was also happening that there is very important geopolitical turmoil took place in our Arab region, which all of you know, which is the Arab Spring. And just after the Arab Spring, we found a very important issue, that most of the countries in the Pan-Arab region, the 22 countries, even the oil exporting countries like Saudi Arabia, they are talking about we need to talk about renewable energy and move our economies from oil-based countries to non-oil-based economies. And here is the issue. Quite obvious that the challenge, or let me give you a very small hint about what happened in Germany, which is the first country start, and UK started to talk about renewable energy to take part of their energy mix. Experience for Germany that it took for the first round of projects 6 years. 6 years for Germany to build a power purchase agreement for solar small PV projects. 6 years to convince Siemens, or I would say in German Siemens, and the other investors, and Mitsui and all other big companies, in order to say, okay, we would like to invest and to secure our investment, versus against 8 sets of risk that basically my colleague from Mitsui had basically explained. Quite obvious also that we have to keep in mind at that time Germany has no regulatory agency. And I would like to stress this issue. While UK has a regulatory agency. So looking for our region in comparison with the Western African region or ECOWAS countries, one of the issues that we need to keep in mind that at least 40% of the risks exists as long as there is no regulator. Look at the Pan-Arab countries. There is no regulatory agency except for Egypt and Morocco. All other countries doesn't have. But on the contrary, and I would like to share, this is very important to comparative analysis to look at. While if you look for other countries, how they do and manage their maximizing their share of sustainable energy, including energy efficiency, you find that one of the very good performers in the region is Tunisia. They don't have a regulatory agency, but they have career policies, and they have human capital capacity. One of the very important issues that I would like to add to my colleague from Mitsui, that it's very important to find human capital or human capacity in the countries to share. If I give very good example, look at what Irene has mentioned in their report. How many technicians and engineers from within the Arab nationals for RICRI area or for the RICRI region who are working? Actually less than 5% of the real human power operating the renewable energy projects, whether solar or wind. That's really very small number. That's why it's another challenge. If you look at in the same time, why the tariff have been going between 2 $2 versus $20 between ECOWAS region and what's happening in United Arab Emirates, it's simply because if I put my shoes as a banker, and originally I'm a banker, in the shoes of Mitsui, I have to look what kind of, and this is basically the levelized energy cost, what kind of issues I have to consider in order to make sure that I will be paid back safely. Most of factors are basically could be calculated, including is there is any technician or not, is there is infrastructure or not, is there is manufacturing capacity to reduce the cost of transportation of equipment or not, what about tax incentives. All these issues, all bankers and my colleagues, Dr. Mabrouk and Dr. Qabbani, knows very well. But when you come to the countries, and I can share with you experience about my home country, which is Egypt, very difficult for the government to consider these issues. Extremely difficult. You can't imagine. That's why I'm giving this background to tell you that since I joined RICRI, I had to turn it down, or what we call it by the definition of banking language, what we could turn down management. We have to change totally the approach from putting or working on developing master plans for renewable energy, which is very important for energy efficiency and capacity building and awareness, to move towards project-based support approach. Let me give you a few good examples just to see what kind of issues we are talking about. I know we were talking today, Dr. Mabrouk, about solar, but the example I have is for Egypt for wind large-scale project. Egypt is considering to build 3,000 megawatt wind farm in one of the, or actually the most strongest wind power in the world. It's basically Gulf of Suez. And it's falling on what we call it bird corridor. And we know there is a connection between bird corridor or bird and wind. And when the government put the PPA for the investors, they simply said, okay, in case of shutdown for birds, this is considered deemed energy. I joined the government in their energy panel, the ministerial panel for this, and this has happened after the PPA have been tendered for investors and the investors put their tariff. And simply, we had to stay almost 6 months to renegotiate because the developer put a price based on that full deemed energy will be paid by the government. Just to let you know what is the number that the government is going to pay in cash from the first months of the power plant in operation. $1.8 billion in cash over 20 years. And for sure the investor said, sorry, I cannot take it. I don't want to give the name of the investor. It's because they are all here. So we had to go for a new innovative approach. And this is a value added of ICRI, and I would like to call that with my colleagues from ICRI, that what we had to invent, or actually to innovate a new approach, what we call it active turbine management program. It took us 1 year to develop and to put it for the World Energy Congress and to come with a compromise by increasing the tariff to specific level, but no more shutdown for deemed energy without calculating the risk. So in conclusion for this issue, risk management and risk dedication team within ICRI is very important to support countries to increase their market share. This is quite the case. No more talking about development plans. Each country knows their plans very well. Let me tell you one final example. I think I talk too much. I'm sorry, I'm a big mouse. I'm sorry, Dr. Mabrouk, for that, and Dr. Kabbani for that. But I myself, when I joined ICRI, I found a very beautiful report that we call it APEX. APEX is the Arab Energy Future Index, that we rank all countries about their performance against 4 pillars that ONA and colleague from Mitsoy you just mentioned. We're talking about for any country to attract. And I will tell you something that I think is very important to mention here, because we're going to announce that officially coming Thursday in partnership with Islamic Development Bank. The top performer country in the whole Pan-Arab region, number 1 is Morocco. Number 2 is Jordan. And number 3 is Egypt. This is based on 34 key performance quantified qualitative indicators. But what kept Morocco in the top? We have to look at and to put comparative to the decision takers. We are the decision makers. They are the government. Number 1 is access to finance. How is that easy? Because even with the high geopolitical risk, investors would love to go. Because at the end, if I look at like Mitsoy, if I come as an investor, if I go for a country like, for example, which is the biggest economy in the Arab region, Saudi Arabia and Egypt, 92 million and 50 million, fine. Okay, for Egypt, CGR 7%, so I sell my energy, whatever they have, I sell. And whatever I have as geopolitical risk, I secure it by several techniques of the bankers knows, like risk transfer, covering insurance. All my police bankers knows that. But access to finance is a key issue. If you look for Morocco, you find that they are very competitively characterized by several access to finance, like Mazen, like access by international banks who are backing up this, like EBRD and EIB, who were there in the morning with Mr. President of IDB, which was very nice to see that they are all supporting that. Access to finance is the issue. Regulatory issue is not important, because if you look at Jordan doesn't have actually any kind of regulatory function, but they are second performer. Why? Because they have transparency of policy. So they have clear policy what they do. So it's transparency to policy, number two. Number one, access to finance. Geopolitical risk comes at the end. It's not that much, despite it's risky. But the most three important issue is that you look at this, and I would like to close by this issue. Between the level of education as human capital from UNDP report and the top performer, you find the same ranking. The top performer or percent of educated and technician is coming in the same harmonized proportionally with the countries. Morocco comes first. Jordan comes the second. Egypt comes the third. Comes the third. So human capital is a decisive factor that investor would like to come in. Because by human capital and transparency of policy, simply the developer has to look at, or the foreign direct investors is looking how to minimize the cost by local manufacturing and by reducing the transportation cost. That is really the innovative issues I would like to share with my colleague from ICRI as well. It's basically banks and all CRIs in the world has to look at how we deepen the local manufacturing of local equipments and the issue of human capital. One final issue I will stop here is the issue of why we always looking at the issue of larger scale. Larger scale is very important, I know, and is needed. But if I look from the perspective of the government, in order to increase access to energy, basically small and medium, or actually I'd say medium rationalized decentralized solution is to be considered as well. Thank you very much. I'm hoping that I didn't take part of your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed. I think we got some interesting lesson learned and advices, let's say, for our future development in West Africa. I have in mind some questions I will start with, and after that I will give the chance to our participant to ask some questions. First, for Mr. El Arnabi from ONE, I think in your presentation there was it's fine, I can speak French if you would like. So, dans votre présentation, vous avez mentionné que les prévisions, ils étaient comme la théorie, disons. Hein, la production de la centrale était exactement comme a été prévu. Je sais que pour l'exploitation des grandes centrales, il y a le problème de prévision de la charge et la prévision de la production. Et pour les énergies renouvelables, cette prévision, elle est liée ou fortement liée à la probabilité. Comment vous faites? Est-ce que vous avez des procédures? Est-ce que vous avez des règles pour préparer la production pour ne pas avoir des surprises le lendemain où vous planifiez, par exemple, pour produire une centaine de mégawatts à partir de la SAE et vous n'arrivez pas? Comment vous faites pour ça? Merci.
D'accord. Premièrement, l'ONE il a contracté une prestation de service avec une entreprise spécialisée en termes de prévision des énergies renouvelables, qui est basée en Europe. D'accord. Sur la base de... Normalement, on communique les données techniques de chaque parc éolien ou centrale solaire à cette entité. Et la veille, il nous donne la prévision de la semaine, il est actualisé en fur et à mesure. Et on reçoit chaque jour les prévisions du jour G plus 1. Le jour J, la prévision du jour G plus 1. En fait, il est actualisé chaque 4 heures. Il nous communique la prévision actualisée en se basant sur le réalisé de l'ensemble des parcs. Ils ont une communication directe avec notre système. Ils reçoivent le réalisé de l'ensemble des parcs de production ainsi que les centrales solaires. Et à chaque fois, ils corrigent la prévision. En temps réel, on sort avec une prévision qui est proche à la réalité, sauf pour la partie solaire où pendant les jours nuageux, où on trouve enregistré des écarts entre la prévision et la production. Pour remédier à ces écarts-là, nous disposons, comme il était présenté au niveau de la présentation, on dispose d'une step pour redresser les écarts et satisfaire la demande antérieure entre l'équilibre offre-demande.
Juste une précision, pour pouvoir réellement gérer cette probabilité et cette incertitude, est-ce que vous avez, ou le Maroc, il a investi sur les centrales existantes conventionnelles pour avoir ce qu'on appelle les Automatic Generation Control, les AGC, là, pour pouvoir les gérer d'une façon plus souple? Est-ce que vous avez ou investir pour mettre à jour quelques centrales ou ça a été fait comment ça?
Non, les centrales existantes, il y a des centrales qui sont disposées dès la mise en service avec les AGC. Ils sont exploités en mode AGC pour faire face aux variations de la charge. Sinon, pour les futures centrales, où on prévoit la mise en place d'un système AGC pour faire face à ces variations.
Merci beaucoup. J'ai une autre question pour Mitsui. Vous avez parlé de votre capacité en tant qu'entreprise pour faire des projets en fait dans tous les secteurs et principalement dans les énergies, dans les centrales, les grosses centrales. Mais comment vous voyez le futur pour l'Afrique de l'Ouest? Est-ce qu'il y a déjà un programme chez vous pour aller vers ces pays pour proposer des solutions? Et comment vous voyez le futur, le proche, dans les prochaines années? Je ne parle pas de long terme, mais dans les prochaines années, est-ce qu'il y a déjà un programme pour Mitsui pour investir dans ces régions-là? Merci.
Bon, en fait, on travaille surtout par appel d'offres, généralement. Par contre, nous ciblons des pays. Donc, le Ghana est un des pays cibles sur l'Afrique, en plus du Maroc, de l'Égypte et de l'Afrique du Sud, Mozambique. Bon, tous les pays en fait où nous avons des bureaux sont des pays cibles. Bien sûr, en fait, quand il y a un projet qui sort, on étudie projet par projet. Et si le projet a un intérêt pour la société, donc nous sommes prêts à participer. Donc nous n'avons pas en fait des projets en cours sur le solaire dans la région, mais nous regardons attentivement en fait ce qui se passe dans la région, et au moment où il y a un projet intéressant, donc là on va intervenir, Inch'Allah.
De toute façon, vous n'avez pas de restrictions pour aller à certains pays?
On n'a pas de restrictions particulières.
Merci beaucoup. Just a final question from my side for Mr. Kapia. I think for ICRI and ECOWAS in particular, is there any we need to know about your legal framework, the regulatory agency, if it is possible, how we can comfort the investors that everything is in place in the future, that you can attract private investors to come to this region. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Mabruk. This to say that, sure, in the West African region, we have some countries that have challenges. But if you observe the situation, you can see it's improving day by day. Sure, putting aside the issues of challenges in Mali and whatnot. But even with that, Mali has put that quickly behind them. There are problems in the north, but if you come to Bamako, they are quiet and they are practically over it. They don't even think of it as a problem. They are working to create the enabling environment, improve it, and get things moving. Sure, all the countries are not at the same pace. You can be sure that take Senegal. Senegal, I think, is one outstanding country. They have all the legal and regulatory framework, all that it requires for anybody to come into the market, be it at a small scale or at a very large scale. They have everything ready, and that is why you see now everybody is moving to Senegal. Ghana is doing a lot now, and there's a lot of improvement in the legal and regulatory framework in Ghana. You see the movement also in that direction. Cape Verde, small as they are, they have always had a very good legal and regulatory framework. So whatever they want in terms of investment, interestingly, although they are the smallest in West Africa, they don't have the population. They are just 500,000 people, but they do attract because they have probably one of the best legal and regulatory frameworks we have in terms of energy investment. But you go through country to country, it varies. Generally, the situation is improving, and most of the countries are up to the task now, and we expect to see better things. We're working with them, actually, on this. 2 years ago, we tried to analyze the legal and regulatory framework in all the countries. We made a presentation to them. Look, this is your problem. This man has a better situation. He stands the chance of attracting investment in the energy sector. You don't have. There are countries up to date. You cannot go and invest in a power plant and generate power. It's still not there. But I believe come another COP, the situation will be different because we're working to it. It's just for the parliaments to adapt some of these documents, and once they are adapted, the situation will be different. So we expect to see an improvement in the legal and regulatory framework and to clear up the way for investment. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kapi. I think ECOWAS and ECRI particularly are doing a great job to bring the member countries to at the level they are attracting more investors in this field. I will open the floor now to our participants. If they have particular questions, please.
Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank Brother Nordin for the pertinence of the subject. The discussions were very interesting. I have two questions. The first one for ECOWAS. We are talking about West Africa, so the first question will be for you, and the second will be for Oni. So my question is that with this difference in price of kilowatt hour between, for example, what we have recorded in other countries, in the United Emirates, for example, and ECOWAS, the difference is a little bit huge. Have you made the study, maybe in cooperation with IRENA or IDB or whatever, to have a breakdown of the price of kilowatt hour? Just to know what is exactly what is making the difference between these two pays in order to know how to do and what to do in order to reduce the cost, maybe to de-risk it or whatever. Especially that, as is said by Mohammed Saad, you have very good solar radiation, you have a very space to where to install solar plants. So I think it is almost to have with risk. My second question is for Oni, and as already mentioned by Dr. Ahmed, when you have wind power plant, let me talk also about wind because I have this question. When a wind operator like Oni asks wind power plant IPP to stop wind for a matter of demand and production balance, what happens in terms of in the PPA? Does Oni pays for the developer or not? Maybe Brother Mohammed also, because he's working in Tazawar power plant, he knows exactly what is in the PPA. Maybe one of you could answer this question. Thank you.
Okay, I think I'll take the first question. Yes, sure, I know in the past, probably 4 years ago, when people came with IPP power plants, people were talking of 30 cents per kilowatt hour. They came to 20 cents per kilowatt hour. But you didn't see a lot of projects developed because the people did not accept those prices. That was actually what made West Africa, in particular, to adopt a wait-and-see attitude. Because if we cannot sell power to our people at 30 cents per kilowatt hour, nobody can afford to pay for that. So we better not have it than have it that we cannot afford it. So this was actually slowed down the development of what I call it, solar development. We tried several projects, but most of them actually failed with the countries because the price was just not acceptable. Until recently, the price all of a sudden came down, and all the countries decided that the options are offering better value for money. So everybody is going for the options now. Senegal is doing the option, Ghana is doing option, Burkina Faso, even Togo wants to do an option, Ghana is doing an option. Ghana has done 2 options already. We actually supporting them with legal and technical advisory services to ensure that they do the right thing and get the documents out. But the first auction in Ghana was at 11 cents per kilowatt hour, which was not the 20s that people were talking of. The second auction, which they just finished probably a week ago or 2 weeks ago, came to 8 cents per kilowatt hour, which shows that we can also bring down the cost of solar. But sure, the price, the sizes were small, 20 megawatt solar PV packs. Probably if they went to 50 megawatt, they could also come down significantly. So this is it. But this has already set the pace. Nobody in West Africa now will accept anything more than 8 cents per kilowatt hour. You say, yeah, well, Ghana has got it at 8. Why should I take 9? So you have to convince me that there is something that you're offering that the person is not offering in Ghana that you want 9. So practically, with these auctions, let's wait for the results of auctions in Mali and Senegal that will come out very soon, also Burkina Faso, and we'll see, and we believe they will consistently come down with these auctions. Right. Thank you very much.
Je pense que votre question c'est comment en cas de...
Bon, en français. Très bien. Bon, ma question c'est, d'un point de vue dispatching, vous pourriez être appelé à arrêter un parc éolien particulier pour balancer l'offre et la demande. Dans ce cas, dans le PPA, qu'est-ce qui est prévu? Est-ce que vous allez payer l'énergie non produite mais non injectée au réseau ou pas? Si Mohamed also...
Parmi les clauses contractuelles au niveau du contrat PPA, pour le cas de la production PPA, la production privée, normalement pour des raisons au niveau du système électrique, si on n'arrive pas à évacuer la totalité de la puissance produite par un parc donné, normalement au niveau des clauses contractuelles, il est indiqué qu'on doit indemniser le producteur pour l'énergie non livrée. C'est déjà bien mentionné au niveau du contrat PPA.
Thank you. I think there is another question in the other side, please.
Bonjour, Amina Chérif de l'entreprise Zest Weather et représentant de l'ONG OMASAP. Je voudrais poser une question rapidement à monsieur le représentant de Mitsui. Est-ce que dans le cadre vous avez fait beaucoup d'offres dans le cadre du partenariat public-privé, est-ce que vous faites des offres de partenariat privé-privé? Nous représentons une société française qui est basée à Paris et qui est basée ici, à Casablanca. Nous avons un produit innovant nous avons un produit innovant dans le cadre de l'énergie, dans le cadre de la production de l'énergie, en passant par le captage, la distribution et la production de l'énergie éolienne et solaire. Est-ce que, en prenant le cas de notre société, est-ce qu'il y a un volet partenariat privé-privé au sein de votre structure? Et comment il faut procéder pour qu'une entreprise passe une entente avec votre institution, votre institution? Merci.
Oui, bien sûr, nous établissons des partenariats avec les privés. Je vous invite à en discuter après l'atelier. On peut en discuter.
Il y a d'autres questions dans la salle, peut-être? Sinon, je peux inviter...
Yeah, I'll be biased here. I'm a bit biased, actually. I have a question, actually, for the colleagues from RICRI and ICRI, because we heard, obviously, on the panel, we have a very interesting, representation from different views. Now, despite the massive experience from Mitsui, and sorry for mentioning this, but you're still there talking about, obviously, coal power plants, which still shows that, well, despite all the experience, despite the massive scale with over 40,000 people, the objective is still, at the end of the day, 100% commercial. We have to demonstrate commercial viability for large-scale developers like Mitsui. Now, RICRI and ICRI, I know they've mentioned a lot of positive steps, but recommendations, transferable experience from the MENA region to West Africa. This is for RICRI. What is the main recommendation? Because something like human development, human capital, as you can see, this is more of a long-term goal. So what is a quick win to bridge this gap to encourage developers like Mitsui from their presentation with their capacity to come to the region? And the same to ICRI. We've seen a lot of the good work that you're working on, but what are the quick wins that could be implemented to attract large-scale developers to the region?
Thank you.
ميرسي دكتور احمد على السؤال دوت. هو اعتقد انا كان لازم اكون محدد اكتر من كده. انا في الواقع I will limit my recommendation into key one. Very important in order for my colleagues in RICRI to work on is to establish what I did 1 year ago, to establish what I call it de-risking investment team that work with the recipient countries or the member countries to put very specific measures based on each country, country by country, as my colleague Mr. Ma mentioned, that the base of transformation into energy liberalized market is varying from one country to another. So to help investors to come in, a need for building, for having a team for de-risking investment that will basically work, and if I would become more specific, 8 specialists among economists, finance specialists, and engineers to work in the famous 8 sets of investment de-risking, and basically to put each country a PPA template and a complete risk transfer model that basically will accommodate all the issues that investors look at when they put or they consider to do investment. This is basically my recommendation in a very specific way. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much for the question. For sure, the whole thing starts with the legal and regulatory framework in the region. That's, for our region, the number one. That has really held back so many projects that could take off. And I believe that is something that could be taken. The other issue, and he mentioned it, the currencies. We have all sorts of currencies, and the currencies cannot just compete. We're having challenges. So the currencies, the uncertainties about the currencies is part of the issue that creates and discourages investment. They want to come, but they are not sure. They want to do everything in the dollar or euro because they are not sure of your currency being stable throughout the period. Now, the local people don't want it in euro or dollar because, no, that's not the currency we deal with. So this is one issue I believe it is very important that we need to address. But the last is the human capital, which was one issue mentioned. And that one, I believe that we have seen good examples in Morocco already. A South-South cooperation between West Africa and Morocco could really make a difference. We've seen it already happening with the support of the Islamic Development Bank in countries like Mali, and it may extend to other countries. And I believe that eventually this type of South-South exchange and knowledge transfer could really bring up some of the countries that they don't have this, they have this capacity gap. And with this, I believe we should be ready to fly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, everybody here. I think we came to the end. If there is no other question, of course, I will just wrap up the discussions. We had today a very interesting discussion from everybody. I think the solar corridor project, the corridor project in West Africa, or not only solar, I think solar and hydro also, is an interesting project. There is a lot of work being done by ICRI. Hope the project will attract investors like Mitsui or others. Of course, the IDB, as they did before for supporting such project, will be always there to bring investors, to bring other investors, and to provide solutions. We discussed before this meeting about the reverse linkage program we have for knowledge transfer, that we can work with RICRI and ICRI to try to find the best provider of knowledge from our member country, which has the same as RICRI, and to cooperate with ICRI to bring some solutions to build capacity for the member countries to prepare the projects. I think ONU also experience is very interesting for the region, as they integrate already big 160 megawatt of CSP plant is already running successfully. Today we heard that they have managed to face some of the operation issues successfully by some regulatory or automatic regulation on the existing plants. Thanks again for all the speakers today, the valuable speakers and guests. Thanks for all the attendees, and see you inshallah next time. Okay? Thank you very much.